Good afternoon, everybody. I made a serious mistake here and didn't get it together, so I'm just going to come right back out, throw the brand up, and try it again. There you go. Good afternoon, everybody. It's attorney Danyl Patterson, candidate for the 190th state rep seat. For those of you who don't know, that's West Philly, baby. So calling everybody from my home neighborhood, where I was born, raised, grew up, and still live, over there in Haddington. Our neighbors in Dunlap, Mill Creek, Cedar Park West, West Belmont, East Parkside, Cathedral Park, Carroll Park, Winfield Heights, and of course, our friends over there in West Allegheny. Today, we're going to talk financial fitness. Uh, but not before I laugh at myself, because, again, we're produced, directed by, and written by Danyl Patterson. And today I forgot exactly how the actual platform works. And we have the person with us today, Camari Ellis, the Finance Rebel, who actually introduced me to this platform and told me, hey, you need to go live more often, let the people know what's going on. Good morning, Kamari.
Good
Or no,
afternoon,
good
Danielle.
afternoon. Good afternoon. See, I don't even know what time it is. Okay, y'all. So just to laugh, right? Has anybody just recognized they have like 9,426 Zoom meetings per day? It's like I have more meetings now than I ever had. So before it was like, okay, we had to have meetings and it could have been an email. And all I had to do was, get up and walk down the hall and was mad. Now it's like I got to get up, I got to get dressed from the waist up, log in, get myself together just for nothing. It's like meeting after meeting after meeting. I don't know. I think it's part of the COVID burnout, as they say.
Well, you got to remember not to stand up if you're going to get dressed from the waist up.
Well, no, you do, right? I can't believe that was a serious rookie move. That was a serious rookie move. Like, I actually and I still and I have clothes on. It's just, they don't match my fabulous top and makeup. I'm gonna just say that. We've really learned how to go along to get along right now. I always want to talk about current events a little bit, but today, when I saw actually yesterday, when I saw the projections on the financial report, and then today when I actually saw it, and then my phone started ringing off the hook, and some of my friends were kind of talking about it, a couple of community people, and they asked me what did it mean, and of course, I immediately responded in lawyer speak. So that meant that I'm not bringing it to the masses. So then you call the people who can bring it to the masses. So I called Kamari on the phone. But first, I got to say hi to Jacqueline Brunson and Gilda Johnson. Thank you for joining in. Please like it and share it. So we're here today with Kamari Ellis to explain to us what $14 trillion in consumer debt means.
That means that everybody likes to go shopping. But in all seriousness, let's break down what consumer debt is, right? Consumer debt is mortgages, car loans, student loans, credit card debt, and all those things that your average individual will use to get along day to day. And so in this report, they're saying that 14.3 trillion is a new number. That's what all Americans have spent on consumer debts, whether it be on their student loans, because student loans are like the number one debt item right now because colleges have been so high. A lot of people have a lot of credit card debt. We have a lot of mortgage debt. We have a lot of car debt, right? There's been a big phenomenon of people buying these used cars because they don't have great credit scores, but their loans have these ultra high these super duper high interest rates.
So you mean that everybody's not sitting at home buying a Jaguar? No, I gotta say how you say it. They're at home buying
Jaguar.
No, he said it like this. He said it a little while. He's like, Jaguar. You got to come and get your and it's contactless. Because I mean, according to the commercials, you're just sitting in the house and Jaguar just pulling up outside and Benzes, and it's it's contactless. So you telling me everybody not buying that?
Nope. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of things. And the other thing is people don't realize how big of a economic driving force that personal spending has on the economy. So roughly 67% of personal spending drives the United States economic engine, or GDP, which
67%?
Yep, almost 70%. Yes. Personal spending.
So, okay.
So when you go get your fabulous hair and nails done, and you go get your red bottoms that I talked to you about the other day,
I don't have no red bottoms, y'all. I don't have none of them.
Yeah, it sounds very convincing. But anyway, but all of that really drives the economy. And with COVID-19 or the whole corona scare, people have not been driving. They haven't been flying. They haven't been taking the train anywhere. They haven't been staying in hotels. They haven't been buying a whole lot. We even saw credit card debt coming down. However, we did see mortgages go up because a lot of people are missing their mortgage payments, and that's what actually drove that number higher than what it's ever been. And
well, that's what I wanted to ask you, because so we were here 6 weeks ago talking about what was going to happen with, was it a forbearance or a deferment? Should you go ahead and pay your mortgage? Should you push it out? Is some of this a result of people taking that, the debt forgiveness or?
Absolutely. I'm not going to say nobody, right? But there's a lot of people that are taking advantages of these forbearances. And people have to realize that what happens with a forbearance is they're not forgiving the debt. They're just moving into the back of the loan. So if you have 27 more payments to pay on your mortgage, well, now you got 30 more payments to pay on your mortgage. So it didn't disappear. And guess what? That mortgage still is collecting interest. So it's going to go higher. Same thing.
Well, Camari, this is not fun. I mean, this is not, we don't want to talk about this. I'm in the middle of a COVID crisis. I want to shop on Amazon and buy stuff I don't need. That's what I want to do. It makes me feel good. You telling me that's not a good thing?
Well, I call that the spender's disease. And anytime most people have the spender's disease, and that's usually not good for anybody. That usually kills everybody's finances.
All I see all up and down my timeline is now there are entire groups like dedicated to Amazon buying.
I saw that, but I didn't have a chance to get into it on your feed. And I was like, wow.
It's like a whole thing. And then when I said that somebody added it to me and they added me to one, I don't understand. Like literally 8 more. Like other people were like, well, join this one and join. I'm like, well, is it like a multi-level marketing thing? Is it like, I really did. I thought it was like, if Camari invites me, then Camari gets the money from me buying shopping on Amazon. And he doesn't. It's like a coupon club.
Hey, maybe I'll check it out. But I usually don't have a lot of patience for stuff like that. So,
because Camari is the finance rebel. That means that he's not in the spender cycle disease.
I try not to be. I'm still human, right? So I will go down again and get me a $4 cup of coffee, or I run. So like this month, I'm running 100 miles. So I know I'm going to probably buy a new pair of sneakers, but I don't have a whole bunch of vices. I mean, my tech stuff, I guess, right? My cameras, see my camera back here, and my video and all that. But no, I don't have a whole bunch of vices. Everything I buy or use as a hobby has to some way make me money in the long run.
Blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you.
But listen, you needed me when I told you what to do. That was good, right?
I did. I really did. I did. So, okay, let me tell you that for me, this is really where I am with everybody in politics, right? Or that's seeking office. You need to have a strong group of individuals that you can rely on, who tell you when you're doing good, but more importantly, the ones that tell you when you're doing bad, that you can rely on that information, that you can hold on to it, that you can, digest it, and you feel like you can go back to it. And Camari is one of those who helps to check me when I need to be checked, and that's important. And I appreciate it. No, you do.
I try, but I usually.
It doesn't mean I always listen. It doesn't mean I always listen, but it means that I value your opinion and that I feel comfortable actually really talking to you about these things. So actually, I'm just, if you don't even mind, because I always, tell my business basically. But one of the things that we even talked about was business debt. And this was before it actually happened, which was what we were going to do about lines of credit for people who had small businesses. Now, this predates, and this has been in the last few weeks. And it's amazing that so many things that we've talked about have kind of come to fruition. I'm trying to tell you, I feel like I've got the soothsayer's stone of the wisdom of I do. I feel like I got all the wisdom. Because so many things. And so, we're like, okay, but a lot of that really is when they say you don't understand history, you're doomed to repeat it. And I remember what happened in 2008 and 2009. Okay. And I said to Camari, what's going to happen with these business lines of credit? And this is before we knew that what they were going to do in the CARES Act and all those things, because one of the things they don't want to do is anything that's unsecured debt. They don't want you to be able to go run it up. So just like everybody shopping on Amazon, I don't know if anybody's recognized that they are slowly lowering credit limits. They don't want you to go out and decide you're going to go buy that Jaguar with your credit card. Because he was like, I actually saw somebody do that, honey. I didn't know you could do it. They put a card on the American Express.
Oh yeah, especially the ones that are charge cards. They don't have a limit, so people do it all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, this was a credit card. I bet it's, it was just, and explain they was trying to get airline miles. I was like, okay, sounds good to me. But you're right, Doris. You need to hold on to your cash. Everybody forgets cash is king. Cash is king. But most people don't have any to begin with. That's really the problem. Where so many of us are living paycheck to paycheck, and we saw immediately that people missed that first week of pay and realized that nothing was coming in the projection because they weren't working. Because and I know I'm not the only one. When I was an hourly employee, so much was that look, I was counting my hours, okay, and this was so many overtime, and this look, I love them hourly paychecks. I did. Once I became salary, I remember. One of my paralegals said years ago, she was saying something to me, and I was like, it's payday? She's like, how do you not know that? And I'm like, because I pay you. I only know when I put in for you. I don't know when you actually get it.
Right. Well, it's a different set of problems, right? Business owner problems are different than your average 9-to-5 person. And a lot of times, business owners get flack for that, right? Because they made the sacrifice. They put money into their business. They risk putting money into their business. And then, your average 9-to-5 folks get mad at them because they tend to reap the reward of those risks that they took, because they're not talking to anybody that's really breaking down how the system works. And so we always wind up with these cross signals about who should do what and what should do who. And I'm going to say this, since you are running for office, this is and excuse me for taking a moment in your show. But listen, what we have to do, right, in my opinion, is we have to stop thinking that the only thing we can do when it comes to politics and when it comes to government is tax the people first. That seems to be the solution for everything.
Well, you saw what happened with the Philadelphia budget. Nobody's going to pay anything except for business owners who are going to get taxed. So there's not going to be any rental income according to, so people who are landlords won't get paid their rent, but the property value taxes are going to go up. The business owners' taxes are going to go up. There was another tax. They actually, so even filing fees, the fees that we pay to file your cases in court are going up.
And to me, that's punitive, or that's damaging to everyday people. Because if you got to go file an extra $20 to get your child support court hearing, that's hard on many of those single mothers and single fathers. So I would just challenge that all elected officials not think to raise taxes to be the first thing that they do. And it seems like that's what we do all the time.
Come on, no one. Here you go. Wait a minute. Bussy, what are you talking about? Come on, no one wants to tax first or second. What do you mean? I don't.
Oh man, Bussy was one of the people I was thinking about. Everybody wants to tax first, but Bussy's my guy though. I like Bussy. Me and Bussy. So me and Bussy.
No one. Oh, is he being sarcastic?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, huh? Sorry. I agree with you. Yes. I mean, look, we want to. That's exactly right. We want to share the tax burden more equitably. But the other thing is, we need to look at. I agree with you, Camari. We need to look at some resolutions of things that are more creative. You know what we do need, just in general, and this just isn't with the taxes. It's not that we don't want. It's not just about taxes and the new budget and those kind of things. It's just that in general, we need to be forward, and we need to be forward thinking, and we need to be innovators. You know, we need
to know where the money is going first and foremost, right?
Yes.
There was a whole slush fund. I don't want me to call it a slush fund, but there was an extra.
I am Danyl Patterson, candidate for state rep, and I do not endorse or support his Camari.
Listen, I'm a private citizen.
Here. These are These are the statements.
These are the opinions
of the opinions of the person to whom they are being attributed. So now, what are you talking about? This
I am not being paid by Danyl Patterson's campaign. It's all me. These are my opinions. No, but the city has reserve, and now the city is moving to raise tax. Well, there's a reason why Philadelphia, let's stick with Philly. There's a reason why Philadelphia is the biggest poor city in the nation. It's not very sexy for business owners. It's not very sexy for young families that want to bring their children and go to school here. Mm-hmm. We have a hard time attracting big business because the educational levels are so low of the constituents. And listen, I'm not putting anybody down. I'm saying these are the issues that we have to address. And so if you need to get more people to the city, we might want to think about holding back on taxes. Nobody likes to get taxed just for the sake of being taxed. And we keep raising taxes. We got soda tax, cigarette tax, and supposedly they're all going to the school district. But the school district,
allegedly, there was a surplus. Now I did read that. I don't know. There was a surplus
of the city, of the city, not of the school district. At least I haven't seen it.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I mean, don't forget that we are, the city of Philadelphia is still owed $1 billion a year, dating back since 2007 for education that we've actually never been able to collect from the state.
Yep, and that's constitutional. So I mean, there's all kind of issues. But anytime we think about raising taxes, we have to think about the people who are going to get hit by those taxes. It's almost like when Trump was happy to put tariffs on China, and he didn't realize that China, when you put those tariffs on China, it's actually the people here in the States that have to pay the taxes. So we need to just understand that. And we need to understand where the money is being spent first before we do something else. It's just like if you got a kid, you send your kid to the store, you give them $5. Mm-hmm. And they say, well, mom and dad, I had spent everything else and I need $5 more. But where did the first $5 go? Right? Let's get through that first. Yeah. So to me, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, I mean, it's very difficult, and I invite everybody to look at my page, Patterson for the 190th.com. I have many, many policy positions on there. And one of these is that, in order to find new and innovative ways, what's been saddening is that I have to look in every other jurisdiction, is that there are cities who were behind us and they're coming up to surpass us because they've been innovative with ideas that we initially had. We funded them and then we couldn't keep them going. We've had, we funded them, or, the next administration, they were not important to that administration, or, because they were so invested in the politics of the thing and not the actual like nonprofits and things who are running them. So, there are a lot of reasons that, there are a lot of things, but I was really disheartened that I was really able to find innovation elsewhere, but not here. That's what I'm gonna say. Is that
that's actually kind of standard, right? So when they say any time in private practice, if you want to look for innovation, look outside of your industry. Don't try to do what everybody else is doing. And so sadly, but I feel your pain, right? Because Atlanta is now doing better than Philly. Phoenix is now doing better than Philly.
Baltimore's on the come up.
Baltimore's on the come up. Austin, Texas is on the come up. There's a lot of cities on the come up, and it's fierce competition for jobs and movies and just things that bring money to these, massive regional areas. So we got to be able to compete for all of those.
And I guess the answer today is not on the Amazon billionaire site. But hey, Jeff Bezos, he's making all the money, right? The richest man in the world has became richer through the pandemic. His net value.
I'm sure. I believe the stock went up today.
Meanwhile, the workers were picketing on Friday, which was May 1st. May Day, also Workers' Rights Acknowledgement Day. And now folks are even more disgusted because apparently some of the workers who walked off the job were fired.
Amazon is not a union shop. You can't just stop work.
So Amazon
I know that sounds cruel.
Is not a union shop.
Yeah, I know that sounds cruel, but that's just the nature of it. And Amazon actually did give a lot of the employees a raise as a result of much of the pushback of everything that's going on. Amazon did, and Walmart did. I believe Target did as well. And listen, it's not perfect. It's not perfect by.
Is this one of your friends, Lusandra Gass Everett? This is
Lusandra. Yes.
Lusandra. Sorry about that, darling. Because everybody mangles my name, so I try to get them right. Oh yeah, Bezos has been bossing out. Bezos literally got all the money. Literally, he has all the monies.
He got a lot of it. He definitely has a lot of it. And over the last couple of days since Amazon released earnings, they've been up. But one thing about Amazon as a company, right, what people don't realize, because that's another one where people talk about how they don't pay any taxes, which really isn't right. Amazon reinvest back into their company at a ferocious rate. So Amazon already announced that whatever profit they have in the second quarter, they're going to reinvest back into their business. And so there is no real profit because they're spending it back in their business.
Yeah, so, they never actually, there's never a cash dividend paid out.
Right.
Well, speaking of, this was another one since I got you here. So last week, oil was at a -$1 or something or another. Yeah, oil prices.
I did a whole video on this. You probably ain't watch it, did you?
I don't know. I probably sleep. I'm gonna just be honest. Y'all know yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
But the trading value on it went up, but the gas price is still down. So I don't understand that.
So gas and oil are correlated, meaning that they do move together, but they don't always move lockstep together because gas has to be refined. And you'll see bigger gas and oil spreads, right? Well, let me figure out how to say this. It's for everybody. Gas and oil sometimes trade closer in value together, but you'll have different seasons like summertime, summer drive. Gasoline will tend to go up because you have what's called summer drive season. Mm-hmm. And the refining process takes longer and it costs more. So you'll see gas be a bit higher. But we have seen gas fall since, basically nobody is flying. Nobody's on planes.
My car gets 4 weeks to the gallon.
Right. 4 weeks to the gallon. Exactly. And that's part of the reason why oil prices fell. The other reason why oil prices fell is because we have way too much supply on the marketplace. Saudi Arabia and Russia, who were having this big, let's say, romper room fight about cutting production, because that's what usually happens when you see oil prices go down. The big producing oil nations will cut production. It's a very economic thing, supply and demand. So they'll cut the supply to try to get prices to go back up. Well, they didn't do that. So they've been keep pumping oil, keep putting oil on the market, and there's nowhere to store it. Now, oil has jumped back up over these last couple of days, and that WTI, which you named, which stands for Western Texas Intermediate Oil, that's just oil from like Oklahoma and Texas and a few regions out there, because there's roughly two benchmarks for oil. You got WTI, which is mainly out of Texas, which is mainly the oil that is used here in the United States, and then you got Brent crude, which basically represents the whole world. But it's the reason why that happened and it went negative is a very technical term. The futures market, which is an actual oil delivery, it's a little bit different. That went negative for a day or two, and then it bounced right back up. But oil's not coming back anytime soon, I don't think. Not in a real meaningful way. I don't see us getting above $60 a gallon or a barrel of oil anytime soon.
Oh, okay, Busty. So, okay, we could lower property taxes if we reinstate a transaction tax on trading.
Philadelphia already has one of the lowest property taxes in the nation, right? I mean, we saw that already. Philadelphia does do a good amount of transactional taxes, but here's my question. Is city government using the money that they already have efficiently? We already know, listen, I'm not trying to throw nobody under the bus. We already know a bunch of these consultants that are on the rolls, especially at PSD, don't do anything. So if they don't do anything, why are they continually still getting paid? And that is taxpayer dollars. Like, this isn't my money. This isn't your money. This isn't Busty's money. Somebody should be accountable for this. I mean, Rebecca Reinhardt found how many accounting mishaps, right? Several millions of dollars that were missing because of an accounting error. Well, that tells me something. That tells me that either one, our equipment is outdated, and that's already known. And
that's right. So we had our court systems. Now, and I'm going to come back to this. Our court systems have been down prior to this happening, and then now we're supposed to work remotely. So that our court systems weren't working.
Right. And so, Busty, I'm going to answer that question, Danyelle. I'm sorry I even did this. I feel like we're taking over your show now.
It's okay, because this is the thing. I have a different audience than you do normally. So there are a whole bunch of people who are going to have more questions. And the reason I asked some of the questions I did is because sometimes people who are really not savvy, they don't like to ask live.
Right.
So talk about it.
Okay. And so, like I said, there's a lot of people at PSD that are getting paid that it shouldn't be. Same thing, city government. We can even look at contracts, right? And I don't even go to the allocation of contracts, black, white, whoever. That was bad. It's getting better. But our bottom line is our tax dollars are not being used at their most efficient level. Busty asked, well, why can't we do both? I'm sorry. We usually don't see government that can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, especially here in Philadelphia. And let me know when it has happened. That's a very optimistic view of things. You could probably get away with that in the private sector, but this is local government. It's not the same. And so I'm not even trying to put out there that local government should run the same as business. What I am trying to say is that you have to be accountable for the funds to the taxpaying dollars, to the taxpaying citizens. And I don't see that really happening on an ongoing basis. That's all I'm saying.
For example, I'll give you one. This is kind of like one of my pet projects, is that here in the state of Pennsylvania, people don't know that there's actually a filing fee that attorneys pay to file cases on behalf of their clients. And a percentage of that is actually allocated to childcare for people who are serving on jury duty. I'm going to say it again. And a portion of that is allocated for childcare for people who are serving on juries. Bucks County has a daycare for people who are serving on juries. Montgomery County has a child care for people who are serving on juries.
Maybe that'll
Allegheny County,
rebuild.
wait a minute, Allegheny County has a daycare for people who are serving on juries.
So you mean to tell me Pittsburgh got daycare, but Philly don't?
That's what I'm saying to you. Meanwhile, Philadelphians pay the highest filing fees for cases in the state. There is money that is just sitting there that's supposed to be allocated to a daycare. We have the space for it. Blondell Reynolds Brown had actually brought this, working with a women's coalition to get this passed in city council. There was an exploratory commission on it. So we know that there is space. We know that there is money. The argument is that the city of Philadelphia is not a child care agency. So I guess Allegheny County is a child care agency. I guess that Bucks County is a child care agency. And I guess that Montgomery County is a child care agency. But Philadelphia, do you all know the number one reason, actually, once they get to jury duty, because y'all know that my issue really is who gets to serve on a jury in Philadelphia.
It's very important.
That is very important. So we know that our Black men are not serving on juries because they're being disqualified because of past interaction with the criminal justice system. And please, I'm gonna say it one more time. It does not mean they are criminals. You could steal something from the Rite Aid twice, and now you can't serve on a jury for the rest of your life. So, but the second one is that when they actually get to the panel of 40, the number one reason that folks are not chosen is because of childcare. They don't have anybody to keep their kids. So, which is how we have predominantly white juries in Philadelphia. I'm gonna say it one more time. In the city and county of Philadelphia, we have primarily white jurors.
Has there ever been a study done to show how disproportionate rulings are because of us not having a panel of our peers?
Well, so this is the thing. So it's kind of like it's a rob Peter to pay Paul. Like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? They say that they can't judge it because they don't know what rulings look like, because no two cases are really the same.
Right.
But what I can tell you is they've actually been studying transcripts and how information is received by the jurors. So, example, there are things that we use in our everyday vernacular that I may understand, and I'm gonna give you the funniest example. And I saw this explode on Facebook on a friend of mine's timeline. She was having a conniption about white parties. She's one of them, like, real progressive. I'm gonna speak out against everybody. I'm one of those. And I think this is ridiculous that they are still having parties for white people and that Black people cannot come to. And it's the white party and it's the this. And she had all her friends and they were all on there. We got to do something about it. They were gonna start a movement. And then I go, so a white party is where you wear white. Those kind of things happen in the courtroom as well, because if you don't have those similar experiences, and y'all know that we do, people say, just like something, what like John in Philadelphia, we all know that depending upon what you said around John is what you were saying, okay? But if somebody not from Philadelphia, they don't know what you're talking about. It's the same thing in a jury, in a transcript. So when we read these transcripts later, somebody who's not from Philadelphia, who doesn't have our same experiences, who don't have the diversity in the cultural background, if that's how it's being read and the appellate court is making decisions, think how it's being received by jurors who don't have the same experience. That's problematic. That is very, very problematic. So we done been all over, the world here. I'm going to take us back to the beginning because people really wanted to understand about consumer debt. They really did. But it's always fun, Camari, because it's like talking with old friends. So, but we got to get it back to the consumer debt. So what do we need to do? How does that relate to us, like your everyday individual, knowing that, we're at like 14.3 trillion in consumer debt?
Well, it lets you know that something bad's more than likely coming down the pike, which you and I have talked about already, right? Because people are living paycheck to paycheck. Now that they are living even closer to paycheck, what's going to happen as banks tighten lending practices, what's going to happen when credit card interest rates rise, what's going to happen if we have even more layoffs. I mean, I think we're already at 30 million. It's either 26 million or 30 million. It'll probably be 30 million, if not more, this week with the unemployment numbers come out. So as that continues to go up, we potentially could be looking at another 2008 scenario, 2009 scenario, because people don't have the funds to pay their bills. We already seen what's happening with mortgages. Those amounts are increasing. That was the biggest moving number. We're seeing what's happening with student loans and college tuition, which is through the roof right now. The price for college is still super duper high. And so that's going to impact us every possible way going forward. You might not see it right away, but something's coming. Danielle, I can't hear you. Did you turn your mic off?
Oh, I hit the thing. Sorry about that. Thank you. And it becomes even more problematic because generally, by and large, our people are the least equipped to deal with a change.
Yep.
We don't, I mean, I don't know how to prepare for it. I'm trying to prepare people for what's coming because it's kind of like, it's like literally every single time we seem we got it together, but there's another shoe falls, right? So it's like, okay, now, okay, we feel like we're finally, hitting this plateau. Now the southern states want to open back up. And they also tell you they're not going to report their numbers. That's the rest of it. So Florida said, we're going to let you go to the beach and you can, because it's exercise and it's great because everybody's going crazy. And we're not going to report the numbers to you. Meanwhile, Atlanta saw 1,000 new cases from Friday to yesterday. 1,000.
Now, I do wonder about that, though, right? Because testing is still ramping up. Mm-hmm. So are these people that were out and about, out buying Jordans? I saw that clip out at the club. Or are these just brand new people that just got tested and they just discovered it? So I
think that same thing. I think, which is why I say that, it's too early to open test is that we hadn't ramped up testing. So we don't know what that's a result of. We don't know. We can only guess at it. And it's problematic. So now we've got this whole situation where that's going on. Okay, fine. Now we're finding out that not just nursing homes here, but across the United States are still struggling, that they're the highest rate of deaths are in the nursing homes. They're just a whole hotbed. The nursing homes actually account for 1/2 of all deaths in Philadelphia.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Excuse me, sorry.
I mean, I do want to go back to something you said, though. You said Black folks typically get hit the hardest. And I feel like a lot of times we get hit the hardest because I feel like as a community, we've lost sight. And oftentimes we're trying to keep up with the Joneses, and not just the Black Joneses, but the white Joneses as well. And we've adopted this uber materialistic, consumeristic sense of lifestyle, where we're trying to keep up with everybody else and we're trying to keep up appearances. Where, in my opinion, that should have never been our plight. That should have never been in our mental. And we need to operate like the shoe is always going to come and fall on us, because it always does come and fall on us the hardest. And so we should be saving. And the first thing we want to do is go out and have fun and buy clothes and stuff, all for businesses that do not support our community. So to me, I think the things that the Black community need to be doing is saving more and supporting, I don't even want to say support, patronizing Black-owned businesses a lot more, because Black-owned businesses are the ones who employ Black people the most. So we got to start investing where we live and where our interests lie.
Which is also why we need to make sure that we are fighting to continue to stabilize and educate our Black business owners during this time. So to make sure they have everything, their documents are in order, their paperwork is in order, their insurance is in order, that they have what they need to be able to be eligible for loans and grants for access. Because we're actually, the other thing is this, you can see what's going on right now as horrible, or you can see it as a possibility, with some foresight for actual advancement for your business. Example is that, I have a friend who has a business, and he said he's finally looking at a storefront. Had never done that before. And why is he looking at a storefront now? Because the first, last, and security and the huge balloon to get into the storefront, the two different landlords are willing to work with them because we're in the middle of a crisis, and they had a properties vacant, and now we don't know where somebody going to come up with $10,000 to move in.
Right.
So there, he's looking at it as, okay, I can spend more money on the build out for what I need for my business. Or we have folks who had, they've had small businesses at home. And now they're thinking, okay, well, since I'm already laid off, I'm going to expand that business. Well, as you're expanding that business, now is the time to look at your LLC. Do you need to incorporate? Do you want to be S corp? Is a sole proprietorship okay? These are the things that you definitely need to look into now, because you have nothing but time. So make it opportunity.
I agree. And it's funny just going through the whole PPP process, or the payroll protection program process. We got to see a lot of businesses are not doing proper bookkeeping. They're just not. They've been exposed. And in order to have any kind of viable business going forward, you need to be thinking about how good are your books, so you can know if you have money. You can know if you made money last year. You can predict if you're going to be able to make money 3 months from now. You can tell how you've been affected by COVID, or maybe you benefited from it. Everybody's not losing money. There are some people out here who are making money throughout all this.
Well, what's really been interesting is that I'm just talking to some of my small business owners, have spent, 10 years with a business making sure they're losing, that they're always, showing a loss because they don't want to pay taxes. And, this hurt them right now because they weren't able to show any income. So they weren't eligible for any of the forgivable stuff. They were only eligible for like the small business loans.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So, it was definitely a double-edged sword out here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So just what would you tell us? Again, who you're generally talking to, because we're, focused on the folks in the 190th. What would you tell us to get ready for the next wave? What could we do? Give me 3 steps.
So save your money. I would also
I want to go shopping. Okay.
You can't go shopping then. Save your money. If you want to do something about it, get some investments. But let's get through the selection first.
Okay.
Hopefully that won't get pushed back anymore.
Well, I don't get to buy anything. I only buy campaign materials. So I got you. Go ahead.
All right. I think now is also a great time to look at, if you have family members and loved ones, or even neighbors, it's a great time to possibly form like small little informal co-ops where you might go buy food in bulk and you can save money. That's something you can do right now. If everybody's got to go food shopping and each of y'all put up $50 a piece, and it's 10 of y'all, that's $500. You can start going to the restaurant depots and some of the other bigger food outlets and saving money on food. That's something else I think a lot more of us could do. But again, that's going to take work and coordination and communication. So that's something we need to do. Thirdly, if you're going to spend money, find a Black business to spend that money with, please, especially one that's directly in your community.
So Camari's tips are: save your money, form a co-op with your friends and family, and buy Black.
There you go.
Well, let me ask a question, because those are great tips. But a lot of people tell me this: how do you find the Black businesses if they're not the ones you're already dealing with?
And I hate that, right? Because I get a lot of calls ask me, what Black businesses should I go to? So if I can find these businesses, why can't anybody else? And listen, I don't have a problem.
No, because the Black businesses, all the Black businesses just call you and they be like, Camari, hey, I'm a Black business. That's why.
No, I actively go seek these businesses. So I try to find out what's going on with them. We've done a number. Me and a group of people have done a boatload of cash mobs. No business owner reached out to us to do that. We actually reached out to the business owner. So, I think a lot of ways you can do that. But there's plenty of good run Black owned businesses. And listen, You're never going to get me on here trying to fight and advocate for a poorly run Black-owned business, white-owned business. I just can't do it, right? When we come to business, we're going to be Black all our lives, right? You just so happen to be in business, right? So I want your business, if it's Black-owned, to be able to compete with the best white-owned business, the best Asian-owned business, the best Latino-owned business. I really don't care. But when it comes to our community, I think we have to step up what our expectations, our culture, to say, listen, we can't accept this anymore. And I don't necessarily believe in outing people and talking bad about people because, but just simply don't take your money back to them. And to follow on, these non-Black owned businesses that have been taking advantage of our community for years, for decades and generations, stop doing business with them too. Accountable as well.
Keep everybody accountable. Hold everybody to the same accountability standard.
Absolutely.
I like it. Absolutely. I like it. Kamari, thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure. Got to be controversial. I remind you all that I am Danyl Patterson, candidate for state rep, and the views and opinions expressed by the guest on this show are merely their own and not necessarily adopted by the candidate.
I own them all.
And he will. At all times, he's ready to advocate for what he believes in, and I admire that, because we all have to have our own principles that we express. Thank you so much again, Kamari. Again, I am Danyl Patterson, candidate for the 190th. I'll see you tomorrow, because tomorrow's Woosah Wednesday. Anybody had any of that COVID insomnia? Y'all know what that is? The trouble sleeping, the horrible dreams that's keeping you up at night, the feeling that you missed something real important. It's actually been called COVID insomnia. And we have Dr. Angela Clack. She's going to come on tomorrow. She's going to discuss how we're going to relax, relate, and release ourselves right on out of COVID-19. Thank you so much. Goodbye.